Guys, thanks very much.
As the bailout plan is being hammered out minute by minute, one CEO says Wall Street is not worth saving.
I'm getting a list of the various quotes that he's made over the past 3 or 4 years that have been spot on. With us now from Salt Lake City, Patrick Byrne, Overstock.com CEO, and what he thinks should be included in the bailout. Well, I got to ask, how did you know all this was coming? I mean, let me just to give you some. You were with Neil Cavuto. You said continue abusive short selling practices pose potential risk. I've become convinced over the last year there's systemic risk at work. I mean, over and over from 2005, 2006, 2007. How did you see it when nobody else did?
Well, yeah, I felt like I was banging my head on a wall to say every drinking binge I've ever seen ends in a hangover. Every credit binge in history ends in a collapse. It's that simple. We've had a massive credit binge for about 6 years longer than we should have in this country, and every boom that's fueled by cheap credit always ends in tears.
Did you see any hints, any signs, Patrick, in your own business at Overstock that indicated to you, wow, people are shopping much more carefully? I mean, what did you see as it pertained to your particular industry?
Well, my predictions on that were not based on what was going on within Overstock, although there is a connection. It's kind of funny. In normal times, typically lower-income people and more affluent people do discount shopping. Ironically enough, those are the two groups that squeeze a penny. The middle class pays full retail. They shop at other sites, which I won't mention. They pay full retail. When you get into tough times like this is when the middle class starts discount shopping. But my predictions were not really based on this. It was based on becoming increasingly familiar and disgusted with our regulatory regime in Washington, understanding how New York and Wall Street had Washington under its thumb. And it meant that this was entirely predictable.
Now, Patrick, you talk about discounts. What about the discounts of these toxic assets that the government's about to buy? Some people, we heard from Bill Gross that maybe they should be priced at 60 cents on the dollar, but the last time they were sold, back in August, they were being sold in the real market for 20 cents on the dollar. Do you think if the government pays as much as 60 cents on the dollar, is it fair to call it a bailout?
Well, it's a great question. It is a bailout, although I do think Americans' anger is misdirected. You know, if we spend this $700 billion, we'll probably be buying mortgage-backed securities with face values of maybe $1.5 trillion, maybe $2 trillion. Now, they're not really worth that, and the federal government, after they buy them, are going to be able to liquidate them, and maybe they'll get $500 billion for them, in which case they'll lose a couple $100 billion. Maybe it's not inconceivable that they actually make $100 or $200 billion off this.